A mission to achieve hydro-hegemony. Turn water into a weapon, control how it flows and where it flows. A host of targets have been identified. The biggest one is India. A country China fears could soon surpass it as a regional powerhouse.
China is using a powerful weapon today that's more dangerous than even nuclear bombs. And most people haven't noticed. This weapon doesn't explode, but it can destroy lives, cities, and entire countries. It's water. Yes, China is turning water into a tool of war. Back in 2017, Indian soldiers stopped Chinese forces from entering Bhutan. It was a big moment, and China didn't like being pushed back. But instead of responding with guns, China used something much quieter: its control over rivers. That year, China stopped sharing important river data with India. This information usually helps India prepare for floods, especially during the monsoon season. Without it, floods hit Assam hard. Nearly 300 people died, and millions were left suffering. China didn't fire a single bullet, but the damage was massive. So how is China able to do this? The answer lies in the dams. China has built huge dams on rivers that flow into neighboring countries. These dams give China power to control the flow of water, releasing it to cause floods or holding it back to cause droughts. This tactic threatens at least 6 countries: India, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand. One of the most serious threats comes from China's work on the Brahmaputra River, which is known in China as the Yarlung Tsangpo. China is building a giant 60,000 megawatt dam near India's border in Arunachal Pradesh. That's 3 times more powerful than the famous Three Gorges Dam. If completed, this dam would be just 30 kilometers from the Indian border.
So this is what China is doing. It is building a dam along India's border. A 60,000 megawatt super dam on the foothills of the Himalayas. Once completed, this dam would be the biggest in the region, also the biggest threat to India's sovereignty. How exactly? The answer lies in the dam's location. Look at this map now. The dam is being built along the Brahmaputra River on what the Chinese call the Yarlung Tsangpo River.
India is deeply worried, not only because it might lose control over water, but because this dam could become a water bomb. The Brahmaputra is vital for India. It provides nearly 30% of its fresh water and 40% of its hydropower potential. But half of the river lies in China's territory. So China has the upper hand. If China releases water suddenly, floods could destroy cities and towns. If it holds back the water, farmers could face deadly droughts. China has already shown what it's capable of. During the 2017 standoff, China used the river as a silent weapon, cutting off data and punishing India without a direct fight. It was an act of revenge, showing how powerful water can be when used strategically. And it's not just India that's under threat.
China wants to weaponize it. Use this river as a coercive tool to build pressure on its neighbors. How? Let me elaborate. This dam is being built at the strategic tri-junction of China's borders with India and Nepal, right opposite the Kalapani region of Uttarakhand, which Nepal has repeatedly called contentious. So once completed, this dam could prove to be a major geopolitical headache for India, given its location. What's worse, this dam could also be used to store or block the passage of water. This can cause water shortage, particularly in Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, if China decides to turn off the tap.
Bangladesh also relies heavily on the Brahmaputra for drinking water, farming, and fishing. If China blocks water, millions in Bangladesh could suffer. To fight back, India is now building its own dams. One of them is the 11,000 megawatt Upper Siang project. This dam includes a huge reservoir to store water and help during dry seasons or sudden water releases from China. India is also building more dams in Arunachal Pradesh to generate power and protect the northeast from floods. But China's water strategy doesn't stop at India. Farther south, the Mekong River flows through Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam. Over 60 million people depend on it for drinking water, farming, fishing, and transportation. Vietnam's Mekong Delta alone grows half of the country's rice and supports nearly 27% of its economy. In Cambodia, the Mekong supplies 60% of people's protein through fish. The river starts in China, where it's called the Lancang. And here, too, China has built a network of dams, at least 13 on the main river and over 90 on its tributaries. These dams give China full control of the river's flow. China can decide how much water reaches the other countries. And when China decides to hold back water, the impact is devastating. From 2019 to 2024, water levels in the Mekong dropped sharply. Droughts hit hard. In Cambodia, electricity production fell by 30%. In Vietnam, fresh water became so scarce that 2.5 million people were left without clean water. In Thailand, farmers couldn't grow sugarcane. Fish died, rice yields fell, and even river plants disappeared. China didn't share any river data with its neighbors, which made the problem worse. Without that data, these countries couldn't prepare or protect their people. Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand all suffered major economic losses. So why don't these countries stand up to China? The truth is, they can't. China is too powerful. Many of these countries depend on trade with China. They've also borrowed billions through China's Belt and Road Initiative. That means they owe China money, and that gives China control. For example, Laos has partnered with China to build dozens of dams. China provides the money, builds the dams, and then keeps most of the profits. One major project involved building 7 dams on the Nam U River. The Chinese company controls 85% of that project. Laos gets electricity but loses control over its own resources. Thousands of people were displaced. Forests were flooded. Fisheries were destroyed. And yet Laos has no real say because it's buried under Chinese debt. Cambodia faced something similar. In 2018, China built the Lower Sasan II Dam, one of Asia's largest. It promised electricity for Phnom Penh, Cambodia's capital. But to build it, China flooded 34,000 hectares of land, forcing thousands of families to move. These people were given small plots of land or a few $1,000s, but they lost their homes, their fishing grounds, and their farms. The dam destroyed fish populations, stopped river silt from reaching farmlands, and wiped out forest-based livelihoods. Even worse, China owns most of the dam. It collects the profits while the local people struggle to survive. And Cambodia's government approved the project despite knowing all the risks. In fact, reports warned back in 2008 that the dam would hurt over 300,000 people. But China's influence and money was just too strong to resist. So what's the big picture? China is using water as a quiet, powerful weapon. By building dams on rivers that flow into other countries, it can control food, water, and electricity. India, Bangladesh, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, and Vietnam are all affected. These countries are trapped because they rely on China for money, trade, and river water. The Mekong River Commission was supposed to help. It was formed in 1995 to protect the river, but China never joined. Instead, it created its own group, the Lancang-Mekong Cooperation, in 2016. This new group includes all the affected countries, and now China gets to control the discussions too. China's strategy is simple: build dams, control water, make countries dependent, and then use that control to grow its power without ever going to war. That's how China is attacking 6 countries at once. Not with guns, but with rivers. China's control over key rivers is not just about energy. It's a silent weapon threatening the lives and economies of 6 nations. From India to Vietnam, millions now depend on the flow of water that China can manipulate at will. Floods, droughts, lost livelihoods, all can be triggered without warning. As this water war intensifies, global awareness is more urgent than ever. We must not ignore the rising danger of weaponized rivers. If you found this eye-opening, share it with others. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay informed on global issues that truly matter. Your voice makes a difference.